Oh, we are live. Can you believe it?
What's up, beautiful people?
And who are you? Tell our beautiful people who you are.
I am the spiritual bodybuilder, aka 𝐾𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫, aka Justin, aka Tats. And who are you?
You got a lot of AKAs.
I like the KA.
Woohoo! Hey, let your freak flag fly, dude. That's what we're talking about tonight.
Exactly, that's what I'm doing.
And I am Julie Murphy, and I am here to help you awaken your wealth because it's about time that we all live from this place of abundance and pure happiness.
100%.
And that's why we're teaming up here to kind of get you on your path to live a life that you love and to where you are no longer acting out all this crazy stuff through your health, like getting the coronavirus, or your wealth, which means that you're spending way too much on Amazon and at Costco these days because you're freaking out.
It is so easy to spend money on Amazon for sure. I've been learning that the harder way, but that's okay. And that's especially right now why we're talking about, you know, agendas today.
Totally.
It kind of goes in concert with, you know, these energies that are going on right now. Very deep, very heavy, very like in your face. Let's look at all this.
Can we talk about that?
100%, absolutely.
Let's dig down. Like, what were we talking about? Like before we went on. May I?
You may.
How I was so frustrated that I'm like going, I just want to eat a pizza.
Yeah.
I'm eating a green smoothie. And I was like chucking it down before the video that we were doing because we're really up against it, aren't we? Pluto is just completely screwing with us right now.
Well, it's holding us accountable. It's holding us accountable. We're gonna see.
Is that what you call it?
Yes, accountability. Pluto is your most honest and intense accountability buddy that you can have. Really. So true.
So Pluto's our friend.
Of course. I mean, all the celestial bodies are our friends. But Pluto is the one, Pluto is like sort of like the Batman. Okay? It's holding us accountable, but if you fuck off, he's going to be pissed. And he's going to throw it. It's like, this is the deepest level of karma. Right? So it's going to test us to see, have we been holding ourselves accountable? And if not, where and why? Okay. The last 6 months, you know, whenever a planet's going forward, that's moving through into our future, right? Into the person that we're becoming. When it goes retrograde, it's taking all the energy and it's reformulating it. It's recirculating it so that whatever energies we missed or that have sort of like the vision I'm getting in my head is like, you know, I'm from the Northeast, like when, you know, they're plowing the streets.
Yeah.
Okay. Like when they really have to do like a deep job, they have like 3 different plows. The first one that like might push to the side or like break it up. The second one that, you know, gets deeper in there. And the third one that like makes
actually
it
clears it off. Well, okay. So I love that analogy because one of the things that you said to me earlier today, it's like, Jewel, this is great. You didn't eat the pizza. You were tested because of what's going on with Pluto. And then you drank the green smoothie and you had hard-boiled eggs today and another green smoothie. And it's like, but yet I love with all the stuff that's coming up. Chicago deep dish pizza is really like, but I know I would totally regret it afterwards because it doesn't fit my goals and my dreams of what I want to create in the body that I want to have. Right. So I get that. So I think it's important for people to know is this is acting out in our health or our wealth because we know it's like a teeter-totter, right? So if you're doing really good on the health side and then you got to watch yourself because this side might be going up on you on the wealth side. And so we really have to be careful because I and you have watched, not that that's really good English, sorry. I and you, but we have to watch where it comes out at because, you know, it really, you know, yes, we're passing the tests and yes, we're being tested. And like you said, this is going to happen through the rest of the summer.
Oh yeah.
And that's really, really important for us to understand.
It is. But you know, when it's happening, when it's actually going on, we don't necessarily, because Pluto is the unconscious, it's the deep unconscious part of ourselves. So normally we understand this part of the energy in hindsight. It comes up and it overwhelms the senses, right? It's like sometimes those cravings, they take over, and that is when we see if the training or the reconditioning that we've done on ourselves has actually been working, because we will react differently.
But Nam, are there things that that we can do, like practical steps that we can do from a health perspective? So like if those cravings come up, like I know for me, I saw, you've had me doing a lot of things since January, right? And one of these pieces is getting my gut to healthy microbiome, and using various tactics. And one of the things that really surprised me is that it had been a while since I had had a colonic, which was helping me clear all the old emotional crap out.
Literally.
Yes, literally and figuratively. But what was interesting is that, so I had another one the other day, and they always talk about how our gut sends more messages to our mind than anything else in our body. And I couldn't believe, after I had that done, how all of a sudden it was like, I wasn't foggy anymore. I was clear, like I was sharp. I was like, bing, 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 bing. And I didn't feel that way when I walked in there. And mind you, I was eating pretty good. I wasn't eating bad. So there are some practical tools that, when you're trying to get those cravings, are there any other practical tools that you can share with people that might help them?
Well, the way, the image that just came up in my mind actually, and the way that I look at this is sort of like preparing, like in the military, when we're preparing to run missions, like in combat, right? We go through certain levels or parts of training, okay? So that we can recondition ourselves to be prepared for what's going to happen. Now, when it actually happens, when you're running a mission, or when you're doing something in leadership that or maybe in like the boardroom, you know, you have to prepare like a slideshow for a big meeting to make a bunch of money. Okay.
Yeah.
When you're actually in that position, that's when it's real, right? And that's when, like, okay, you might start sweating. You might start, like, somebody asks a question and you're not fully prepared for it. And you're like, whatever feeling or response comes up then, that's entirely an individual process. So if you think about it that way, really what prepares you for this plutonic kind of energy is the training that you do on a consistent basis. Because say that like I'm getting ready for a bodybuilding competition, right? Well, if I'm cheating,
you do know you're unique in that not many people do prepare.
Well, yes, I do, or like some kind of sporting event, even, right?
I know, I'm just teasing.
But if I'm cheating myself, or if I'm cheating in the process, it's going to show on stage. You can't hide it on stage. You can try to take shortcuts and, you know, take more performance enhancing drugs, or you can try to do these really complicated like manipulations of like hormones or sleep patterns or foods. But at the end of the day, if your body isn't conditioned, your body isn't conditioned. There's no.
So in essence, like what you're talking about is like, you got to build the muscle.
Exactly.
Right. Because I'm always talking about building financial muscles that you really can't get from A to Z without kind of doing the steps in between to build up the muscle, because you're not going to go from being a person who like is saturated in credit card debt and car debt and everything else to being completely fiscally fit. Like, it just doesn't happen like that. It took you a while to get out of financial shape or physical shape. And so, and trust me, I am a huge believer that we can all take quantum leaps in our life. Like, we can do this. It doesn't have to be linear, but you still have to build the muscle. Like, you still have to like have some consistency and follow through, that it's not just, you know, the pie in the sky. I think that was the big problem all those years ago when people were talking about The Secret. It's like people just thought, oh, I just think it and believe it, and then something happens. But there's a practical action steps that need to go on here.
Totally. And when you like the thinking something positively, or like, you know, the affirmations, things like that, that's one piece of a very complex puzzle. So, like you can think something and you can look at yourself and say, I love you. And, you know, but
thanks. I love you too.
Oh, thanks. But if deep down, deep down, you have these harbored emotions that have been conditioned into your body and you don't really believe that, it's never going to work. You have to dive deep within to feel it at the very core. And how do you know when that happens? When the outside changes. When
on a physical level.
When you do the work within here and your outer reality changes to match what's going on in here, that's how you know that it's working.
And that's where it goes back to the fact that everything that happens in your outside happens because you're vibrationally somewhere in the inside.
Exactly.
And like attracts like, and that's what comes to you. So you have to be in vibrational alignment.
Right.
Yeah. And the same thing happens with your money. Like if you are not in integrity with your money and you're doing, like, people always say, well, but you know, I'm holding on to things and I'm hoarding. And I'm like, you have to remember the word money comes from currency, which comes from the word current. And what does a current do?
It flows.
Right. If you're a hoarder,
you ain't flowing.
you're like, I'm gonna choke it, you know, and that's when money doesn't come to you anymore. Like you limit your pay raises, you limit your bonuses, you limit, you know, like you're the one that's gonna let go of your job because energetically, vibrationally, you are matching your inside to your outside. And we have to realize that everything is energy and vibration.
Is it everything?
I think so.
And this is where it comes back to our agenda and the agenda in the world, because let's face it, there are a massive amount and many layers of agendas that are going on right now. Some out in front, some hidden, some made to look like something else. That's and it's true. Easy to get caught up in agendas that don't align with our heart right now, because there are so many energetic strings pulling everywhere and this is going to affect our health and our wealth. You know, look, the world right now, it's our health physically, our health, you know, psychologically is being affected by the current situations going on in the world, especially with wealth. Millions of jobs are shifting and being just torn up and turned.
Can we talk about the money for a second? Like,
absolutely.
We need to realize that a lot of this stuff that is coming towards us on a money front, beware. Why? Because we have to choose the path that gives us more freedom for tomorrow. So I always say that you have to clean up your financial past, which are your debts, while living in the present moment and plan for the future all at the same time.
Right.
Why? And right now we are at an opportune time that you are going to create today what your tomorrow looks like. Because if you are not adjusting, and I know these adjustments are not easy for some people, I get it. But if you are not adjusting your cash outflow to your cash inflow right now, and I'm not telling you to go on a budget. I'm telling you to stay empowered, because a budget makes you feel like a victim.
Yeah, that's sort of like restricting your diet, like, you know, to starving yourself.
Or like when I called you up and I said, well, how many calories am I supposed to eat? I'm supposed to like, and you're
exactly.
Like, I don't count calories. I'm like, what do you mean I don't count calories? I want to like lose some weight. It's like, no, don't count. Just eat what you want. I'm like going, eat what I want. Like it was,
it feels counterintuitive at first.
That's why it's empowering.
Right.
Because it's not limiting. You're not being a victim to your diet. You're not being a victim to your cash outflows.
Right.
But choosing that because of the life that we actually want to live. And so be very mindful. You know, you're talking about how this summer is going to be, you know, more of this is going to be coming up. We're going to be shown more of our patterns, right?
Oh, yeah.
We have to get through things. Well, and I am telling you, there is right now in the next 1 to 4 months, it is over an 80% chance that we are going to go down 20% more than the 27% we already went down in the stock market. There's an 80% chance that that's going to happen statistically.
So what exactly does that mean, Julie?
That means it's going to be double worse than what it was a few weeks ago.
But like, how does that affect the economy?
So the market falls, then the economy falls.
Okay, right.
So that means double the unemployment that's already happened. Double the
already
amount
like there's already like a couple hundred million people that are
millions,
right? Or as it, yeah, there's a lot.
So this is where I'm saying I want everyone to be very, very mindful, because this summer what's interesting to me is I always say, like, I'm in the money world, and I know in my spiritual world and my money world crossover, that's when I know this is now the path. Because you just said how this summer is going to be rough, and I'm pretty sure we're highly likely going to have what they call a W, where the market's going to fall and then the economy's going to fall. But I want everybody to not be afraid of this.
Right.
You have to understand that
that fear is going to propagate more of dropping, right?
This is not about tuning into the fear. This is about moving to a place of empowerment and making choices today before that happens. Right.
Which aligns perfectly with the astrology. But how do we if the economy and all this stuff is going to be crashing, like, how do we prepare?
So you prepare by start to work on your liquidity. So for example, some of the conversations I'm having with clients is, okay, maybe we were putting all this money into your retirement or your kids' college, and you know, a lot of people over the last 10 years weren't making much interest in savings accounts. So they're like, why should I bother building a bunch of money in a savings account? Well, it's called your CYA fund. It's not about making a lot of interest that your ego wants. It's about, this is supposed to help me for when I'm in a dry patch or when something's not working the way that I expect it. Or maybe re-look at where you have things, you know? So for an example, like if you can call up any of the debts that you do have, call up your car company, call up your credit card companies, call up your mortgage company and say, you know what? Is it possible for me to take the next 3 months and add those payments onto the back of my loans? And then here's the key. Here's the key. Take those payments and put them in your savings account. Don't spend them. That's going to give you some liquidity to be able to move with what's going on in the macro environment. And so you have to create some space for yourself.
So this is sort of like creating a structure in your life similar to that of nutrition, right? Like
totally.
What we're going to do. Okay, we know that this is bad. We know we can't, like, and especially this is testing because we tend, like, when we are emotional, we tend to emotionally eat, right? Then when some people emotionally shop. And right now it's so easy to just get on Amazon, you know, scroll and just buy shit that you don't need. So
or go to Costco.
These are, and these are emotional, impulses that are going to become very strong, and they're going to become strong so that we can adjust them and identify them and change them permanently. This is about setting the stage in our behavior systems and our patterns for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, you know, we have a question here, Nam. Chris Wagner, who I went to grammar school with. Hello. He asked, how much is too much in savings, and at what point do we take advantage of a down market? Again, we have to, what I always talk about is you want to sprinkle the infield. And certainly this is client specific. So I can't specifically give you individual advice on a Zoom call, but the rule of thumb is that you have to decide how much are your, well, if your monthly expenses, I'm going to give you an example. If your monthly expenses are $5,000 a month, I'm just going to use a round number so it's easy. And if we expect that, you know, usually 6 months, so that would be $30,000, you know, 5 times 6, 30,000. And to have that in a savings account so that if you lose your job or if you don't have something, then you have something to still pay you your paycheck. Now, that being said, that is my left brain, logical brain talking. Now, I always have clients do a left brain and a right brain assessment because I have some people that unless they have 24 months sitting in a savings account, they are not comfortable and they are not sleeping at night. So you really do have to balance your right brain and your left brain. And if you're married, you've got then 4 hemispheres of a brain that you're trying to balance, because it's yours and your spouse's. And just know that you may have to, there's many people out there that may have to come up with creative solutions to all of this right now. I just had one client who, they own a 3-bedroom condo and they lived in it, and they just decided to rent the other 2 rooms out while we get through this. And, and their housing costs went to 30% of what they were before. So sometimes you have to come up with creative solutions to get through these times, but this is the time to empower yourself to come up with the creative solutions, not time to be victim of whatever else happens to you.
Right. And I totally agree with you, but I gotta be honest, like all this stuff that you're talking about, like having 30 grand in the bank, like 70% of Americans don't even have $1,000 in their savings account.
Yep, totally. So, right.
What do you do? What are the people that have been living paycheck to paycheck do?
So that's where that's where I was talking about. That's a great example of where I was talking about. Because usually those people who don't have money in their savings accounts are probably the ones that have a bunch of debt. You know, they've sold their soul, if you will, to the almighty dollar bank. Yeah. And it's time to get your freedom back, and it's time to claim your freedom, because right now you're letting somebody else control your life. And this is where you call your car company, call your mortgage company, call your landlord if you rent. This is where you can do proactive things and ask for adjustments on things. But here's the key. If you're a spender and you're the person that doesn't have money in savings, this goes back to us when we were talking about building a muscle, because you've not built the muscle yet. So you got to stick it in. And here's the thing. I love these online savings accounts. Nam, I've introduced you to them as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where there's ones with American Express, Capital One, Discover has one, Barclays. And what I love about them is you can name your financial intention. Now, if you name your savings account Muffy after your cat, guess what? You're spending that dough all day long.
Right.
But when you call it Save My...
I like that.
You know?
Okay.
Just don't tell my mom I swore again on Zoom.
I'm sure I will not tell her, because I am guilty of the same thing.
No, but so this is how you can create space for yourself. And you know what? And when you do it I had somebody say to me the other day going, well, I'm just going to have so-and-so do it for me so that it all works its way out. And I said, you know what?
Not a good idea.
We are all being called to self-love and self-care.
Right.
And when it comes to your money and in your health, you have got to put your skin in the game and do it for you and your reasons, because no longer is the day for somebody else to fill that void for you.
And, you know, and this comes down to our agenda again. When we don't put our intention to whatever it is that we're doing, then we're essentially giving our power away to other, like I'll give a perfect example. Like when I first started setting up my YouTube stuff, I felt like I don't know how to do any of this. So my friend showed me like how she did it. She even set up half the stuff for me, and it was great. It all could have worked awesome, but I didn't know how to use any of the software. I didn't really fully feel like the name, but I felt like, well, maybe she knows better than me because she's successful at this, so I'm gonna let. But really, it wasn't until
I've learned that lesson.
Right. It wasn't until I fully went into every decision and assessed everything, and I chose something myself that felt right to me. That's when it's almost like you're doing Reiki on all your own stuff, right? So like when you go into a firm, solid decision-making process about everything that you spend, about everything, like if you're about to eat some junk food, like if I was sitting there looking at a pizza, like you look so delicious and you smell amazing, just get inside me, right? But I know, okay.
Matt.
All right, just get in here. But I also know at the same time, okay, I want you inside me, but I know you're gonna fuck my stomach up. I know that I'm gonna be bloated and I'm gonna be uncomfortable and tired. And
for days.
For 3 days. Do I really want to experience that? Is that worth it or no? And then I have to have the strength, the inner fortitude to make the decision to go in the way that I know that is going to be more important. Now, if you do choose to eat that food knowing that it's going to do that, then okay. but you made that conscious decision. And then, you know, and then.
Well, let's talk about that, right? So what happens is that we then do those things because we're all human, right? We've all done that.
Right.
Here's the kicker. We have all this shame, blame, guilt, and judgment that then physiologically, whether it's your money or your health, that physiologically lands in your system, and then it's stuck inside.
Yeah.
And those are all unprocessed emotions that then just build up and build up and build up. And then it could come out, like it can build and come out in anger or rage, or it could, or you build protection and padding, and it's building up in fat on your body because you can't digest because it's all stuck in your intestinal tract, you know, or all that shame, blame, guilt, and judgment comes out in your credit card debt because you're jacking up your credit card debt.
Right.
It's all energy. But when you are not processing through this shame, blame, guilt, and judgment and just being like, yep, I did it. I fucked up. Today's a new day.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
You literally have to go through that and release any attachment you have to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's the only way to get through it.
And that's what comes back to, you know, with all the different ideas and agendas that are out there in the world right now, it's so easy to get distracted and sidetracked and sucked into all these things. You know, there's so much information flowing around and new things are coming out literally on a daily basis. Things are changing constantly. And as they're coming out, you know, like we may almost get so sidetracked that we forget what our own agenda is. Or maybe we're in this, you know, in between space where we don't even fully know what our own agenda is. And if that's the case, that's when this stuff shows up fucking everywhere. Yeah. And that's the problem. So we need to really bring it back on every level to what is our purpose? How are we going to use this time of change and of really stillness? How are we going to use to move forward and create the life that we want to create? Totally. So that's what, you know, we are here right now to help to, you know, really bring out these aspects of the energies, because a lot of people are seeing, like, I cannot tell you how many people I see that are just going in the store with buckets and buckets of junk food and I
just said that story the other day. I'm going, I remember the first time I walked into Whole Foods, and it was the first time I'd seen 2/3 of the shelves empty from this. And the aisle that had the least amount of things on the shelf was the potato chip aisle.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me? But there were tons of fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just turned around. Everyone's packing in the pasta. And then I turned back around, bought all this fresh food, and I just came home and froze it myself. I was like, I don't understand, people. Like, but that's how we distract ourselves, right?
Exactly. That's how people just, oh, this sucks. Oh, poor me. Oh, I'm going to just wallow in self-pity and go on the news and watch all this brainwashing all day long and just feel sorry for myself.
Yeah. And for those of you who are just joining us, can I just say, you know, this is Julie and Nam, and we are here to help you with your health and our wealth. And, you know, you can reach me at juliemurphy.com. And Nam?
You can reach me at spiritualbodybuilder.com and check out my opportunity community. Got an awesome group of people that are just growing and learning and coming together. We're actually working on all this stuff on a consistent basis. So I'm pretty stoked and I love it.
And I am actually, I don't know if I told you this or not yet, but I am actually in the process of putting together a mini course to help people through this time period with their finances. So by all means, if there's anything that you guys want me to make sure that I add to it, send me a private message or put it here on our Facebook Live and let me know, because I am here to be a resource for you to financially get through this time, because we can do it. We just all have to work as a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right.
Good stuff. And I want to go back to this agenda thing that you were talking about.
Bring it back.
So that goes back to the fact that that's all the things outside of ourselves. Yes, the pandemic is happening. Yes, we've got Wall Street stuff going on. Yes, there's all kind of politics going on, but we have to go back to an internal directive.
Exactly.
Right? And this goes back to our intuition, and what you and I see all the time from people is that they don't trust themselves.
Yes, exactly.
And this is what needs to change. That we need
100%.
to start, as a child, we all trust our gut instincts.
Yeah, of course.
Until we're conditioned into society.
Right, until we're taught that we cannot trust it.
Right. And we're all being called to get back to trusting. Exactly.
Interesting. I just got a couple comments here.
Yeah, great.
And I have a little bit of twist to this. Somebody said that pizza and pasta don't hurt everybody, right? Now, you're right. You are right about that. And we're not talking about like pizza and pasta is just like it's the symptom, all right? Or we're
just using that as an example because
right. But
I'm gluten intolerant and you're
behind us.
but okay, so let's come on, people. Stop it. Stop it. Picking on pasta and picking on pizza, that just means you're in your stuff.
Exactly.
Because come on, we're using that as an example. Stop being offended. Stop being what's yours? Maybe it's not pizza or pasta, but what's your shtick? Clearly it's something. Like, come on.
And if you look at everything going on right now, that's exactly what's going on.
Yes.
Like people are going down these rabbit holes, right? Like you see, especially on Facebook, it's terrible on Facebook. Everybody is a politician now, or everybody is a subject matter expert because they watched 4 or 5 documentaries and now they know everything. Okay. Now,
sorry.
The belief systems are getting so strong, but those are all agendas. Now, if you resonate with it, then resonate with it. That's part of your belief system. Okay. As long as it's for your highest and best good. And it's for the, and it's,
who are we to judge? Right.
Then awesome. But we have all these opinions. Polaris just said, I like her. We have these different opinions, and then we have people that are going out there and saying, and then other people arguing, no, you're a fucking asshole, you're wrong, no, you're
I just had a client do that the other day, and I go, come on, just stop, because your energy and your beautiful soul is meant to do so much better things in the world than to waste it on this.
Right.
Like we only have so much energy. And the question is what are you going to use it on?
Exactly.
Like, don't use it on the stuff that's pulling your vibration down or not providing more good in the world. It's kind of like some people would complain. My office is right across the street from the old Harpo Studios, which is now actually Global McDonald's. That's kind of a different thing. But and people used to say, "Oh, you're by Oprah." They'd be like, "Oh, you're by Oprah." There was never an in between. And I used to say, you could like her, you can hate her, but can you just say that she's done more good in the world than bad?
Yeah.
Like, why can't we just focus on that? Like,
people are in their shit and they haven't acknowledged it yet. So whenever you're, and mind you, all these comments, all these things that are being shoved in our face right now because it's affecting the whole world, these are all agendas that are trying to pull us away from our own agenda. So every time we get caught up in an argument or caught up in really bantering back and forth when there is no positive outcome.
Right.
The key is to focus on something that you will have a positive outcome at the end. So if we could debate, like if you and I could sit here and debate from a place of balance, right? Like, bam, okay, but I still love you. Right?
Right. Well, and here's the thing. We have to have more love, more compassion, and more respect. And it starts with you. Because this is the new energy. We have to start with our heart and then add your smarts. That's what one of my teachers, Deirdre Morgan, taught me years ago.
Right.
Start with your heart and then add your smarts. She'd say that over and over and over again to me.
The heart and the mind must come into alignment. So I just got another interesting question here.
Okay.
Said,
bring
but what
it on,
happens
brother.
what's that?
I said, bring it on, brother.
Okay. I said, so, but what happens when a percentage of spirit in the new information or downloads connects the two? So here's what I think. The connect. It's all a part of the same whole. It's all a part of the same thing. Universe, spirit. We are just coming into more alignment of ourselves as we're getting these downloads and raising our vibration. So all that means is that this dense energy in us is being expelled, and it's bringing in these new higher vibrations. However, when this process is going on, part of the process is this energy gets expelled, and then to see if it's fully enveloped in our experience, in our being, it comes back to test us to see if we're going to fall back into this pattern, or if we're going to grow and actually continue this evolution. Okay, so it's literally just a part of the process as it connects the two.
Well, and I would like to point out to everybody that it's super important to recognize that when you are triggered, it's about you and something that has to shift within you. Now, I have been saying this, my oldest and my second oldest are like oil and water. And I just keep telling him, I'm like, Timmy, Bridget's triggering you. It's about you. And he'd be like, and my Bridget would be, I'd be like, Bridget, Timmy's triggering you. It's about you. And she's like, then the other day I got triggered, and then they both looked at me and I go, Mom's triggered. It's about me. And they just started laughing their butts off. And I'm like, okay, so let's work this all the way through. So I was like trying to bring awareness to the process because they thought I was nuts when I was bringing this up to them. And then I finally got to a place where I was like, okay, why am I triggered? I am triggered because I had just gotten a text message that completely deflated me. And it was a situation in my personal life that I was very frustrated about. And my kids, and then I snapped, and then my kids were like, Mom, what's wrong? And then I realized I was actually just sad because it didn't have to be that way. And I was sad. And then when my daughter said to me, Mom, what's wrong? And then instead of being triggered and like chopping people's heads off and whatever it is that we do, whether we eat or we scream or we whatever, you know, I was able to just in the moment recognize going, I'm sad. And then tears came up. I cried for like 2 minutes.
Beautiful. And
then it was gone. And I wasn't triggered anymore. So I had to just, so when you're triggered, a lot of times you just need to feel your feelings.
You gotta feel the shit.
And if you don't, it gets stuffed down and then it comes out in your spending or it comes out in your bad health habits.
You know, I remember I did not cry in my adult life until I was 30 years old.
Wow.
I couldn't. I was physically incapable until my world crashed down harder than I ever thought possible. And it completely, you know, it was my first big tower moment when I was in Iraq, and it completely crashed. And then when I did cry, I had that ugly snot, like ugly face cry going on like every day for like 6 months. It was
because everything builds up, right? You know, I actually think you guys have a tougher time right now because with all this transition stuff, like you guys can't keep your emotions in anymore. They're coming up.
Yeah.
And your whole lives, you've been told not to do that.
Right. Exactly. And that's the divine masculine is definitely coming in to be purged and to be processed and be cleared in this new Aquarian energy. Yeah. So with this new energy coming in, it's about the humanitarian in us all wanting to be a part of making the world a better. Honestly, it kind of reminds me of like a new evolved version of the 60s. Like the 60s was an attempt.
Aquarius.
Right. So and actually in the 60s we had some similar plutonian and Uranian aspects going on. Now we're actually in some opposite energies. So now with these energies, it's bringing up like all this control dynamics are coming up, and this revolutionary energy. I believe now that we have politicians and lawyers and doctors and all these people that are starting to wake up and starting to realize the bullshit, we're seeing, and now with technology, where it's allowed to get out to the people, the masses. That's the Aquarian age. Now, of course, they're going to try to implement limitations and things so that things can't get out. But I don't think that that's going to work. It is going to be a massive back and forth, but
and it's a process, right? It's a process, this goes back to why we have to create space for ourselves, even from a financial perspective, because we need to be able to move with whatever comes. And it's not too late. So many people might think like, oh, well, I haven't done it yet, then it's too late. Well, not really, because
right now,
you know what? I guarantee you are not spending the money you were before we were under house arrest.
Oh, yeah, no shit.
I'm sorry. Did I say house arrest?
Yes, you did. Freudian slip. It's true. It's true. It's a very fine line between like safety and tyranny.
Yeah.
And there's certain things are crossing the line right now, and people are starting to really feel it, see it, and people getting pissed.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. So I come from the finance world, right?
Yep.
And of course, there are analysts out there that are very left brain, and they're not on the emotional right brain side. And they have actually run the numbers now that which is worse, actually having more deaths from coronavirus or keeping the economy shut down. And the
economy shut down by far.
What's that?
The economy being shut down by far.
After 60 days.
Okay, after
60 days, it becomes more detrimental to keep the economy than to actually just allow the virus to do what it's going to do.
Wow.
And
you know what's funny is that once everything does start back up, herd immunity takes course, because herd immunity actually
the best vaccination ever.
Right? Exactly. So that's going to make sure that everybody most people have already probably gotten it.
And you don't even realize it.
You don't even know it. So.
Well, that's why I'm not wearing my mask outside.
Right? You need oxygen. Come on, people. Like, think.
I know.
Oh,
it drives me bonkers right now. Like wearing a mask. They smell like the disposable ones smell like formaldehyde to me. I'm like, ah.
Okay.
I take my shirt and do this instead.
Right. All right, so Julie, I have another interesting interesting question.
Yeah.
It says, where can you learn about these energies? Elaborate on this with her, please. So this is, how do you learn about these energies? Is being in tune with yourself, being aligned with your own agenda. Like, this is what we feel. Julie and I both, we have different professions. Her profession, and she's a master in the money and the finance field. I am a master in the health and wellness field. All right. So this is where you become, in alignment with yourself, sticking to your own agenda, which is everything that we're talking about.
And your own agenda is just letting your freak flag fly.
Letting the freak flag fly. Yes. Try saying that 5 times fast. So this is just being attuned to what we're feeling, because look, everybody is connected to this. We're all connected to the collective unconscious. So we're all essentially experiencing the same thing, just from a different prism from the experience that have shaped our lives. We all have 5 fundamental third dimensional senses, so to speak. And these 5th dimensional extrasensory perceptions are starting to wake up. So the more in tune you get with your 5 senses, the more awakened the extrasensory senses come alive, and you learn how to just interpret the energies within yourself. That's all it is.
Well, and can I pull it to like a practical application? Like, I get what you're saying. Sometimes I feel like some people feel like, because you and I are like the interpreters of all that woo-woo stuff, right? And so for some people, it's like, I'm going to use women. Was that a female that actually asked that question?
No.
No?
Schwartzberger David.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, I'm going to use this example anyway. So, many times women will refer to the guy in a relationship about, well, honey, whatever you think's the right thing financially to do, to the point that they've even turned over the money management to their spouses. And now that's the investment side. On the flip side, women in a household typically are the ones that pay the bills and the cash flows. and tell the man they can't spend money. Like there's
sense.
a lot of dynamics that are like that in this country, right?
Okay, yeah.
For good or for bad. It's just patterns I've noticed.
No, for my personal experience, it's been the opposite. But
okay,
in society, you're right.
And yeah, so whatever it is, there's typically one person that does one and one does the other. And but the problem is that when you then, that's like an external referral. Like there may be a decision made that doesn't resonate with you, but then you still just let that person just do it because you don't want the conflict.
Right.
Because you've gotten into your patterns of how you're going to communicate and all that other stuff. And then there's layering upon layering because you've got all this conditioning that comes from your parents and how your parents taught you about money or how your parents taught you about your health. Right. And then you negotiate yourself away. And so you've got to really watch. What I'm always telling people about is watch your body intelligence. Our bodies are so much smarter than our minds.
Oh yeah.
And so like
subconscious mind.
Right. So like if there is a decision or there's something that's presented in front of you and you're like squirming around and you can't and you're like, okay, maybe, well, no, you're squirming. That means it's not okay. But we have rolled over that time and time again, and we've not, how many times you guys out there, like the woman just bitches and you guys just shut up and then you just let her, there are times I have a husband and a wife sitting in front of me and she's just, and I look at her, I go, zip it.
Zip it.
I go, I'm saying that with all the love in my heart, but you need to stop that.
Of course.
And then by that time, he's got his arms crossed and he's turned to the side.
Oh. Okay.
And, and I see this so often. So it's like, open yourself. And I ask him, I'm like, what's your opinion on what she was saying? He goes, yeah, I don't want to pay for that later. And I'm like, pay for what later? Whatever I'm going to say. I go, and I look at her and I go, are you going to make him pay for it later? And she's like, maybe. Oh. I go, can you agree that you won't? Like, Nab, I see these dynamics in relationships all the time. Wow. And this is where there's lots of layering of shame, blame, guilt, and judgment on all the stuff that you've done in the past.
Why would anybody want to spend a lifetime like that? I don't understand.
Well, that's when you're not actually speaking your truth. And that's my whole point about all this. When you're not following your knowing, when you're not speaking your truth, and now we've been stripped of everything, and now you're stuck in your homes with these people. So all that stuff's coming to the surface. It's like that
movie, The Bronx Tale, when like the bikers come into the bar and he asks them to leave, and like, no, fuck you. And then he unlocks the door. He's like, now you can't leave.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna beat your fucking face in with a baseball bat, because that's how we do around here. You want to be stubborn. You want to be stuck in some shit that's not right for you. Here it is, 100%. You don't like it?
So true.
Then you need to do something about it.
Right. So my whole point is that we know where we're negotiating ourselves away. We know when we're not following our inner intelligence and our knowing. And I'm just asking you to finally pull the courage up to at least say, this is where I'm not in integrity with myself. Because that honesty, moment.
And that honesty, especially if you've been living in a situation like that for many years, that honesty with yourself, that's the Plutonian effect that is throwing it in your face right now. So if there's some really intense, difficult shit that's coming up right now, it's not a bad thing. It's saying, hey, look, now is the time. Now is the time to feel it, to face it. And you know what? Look, if shit's going to fall apart, it could rise together after that. Actually, it really does.
I keep hearing over and over again, you think it's all falling apart right now, but it's actually all falling together.
So he just said, you just impressed me with that quote, that Italian, now you can't leave.
No, you can't leave.
Well, I'm from Boston, so, got to represent. So someone else earlier also asked too, how do we get in more alignment with this energy? And I wanted to just say, it's a lifestyle. It's like exercising, working out. Tune into this kind of content consistently, right? Surround yourself with people that you can feel comfortable with bringing up questions like this. This isn't like just a one answer, one question thing. This is something that you need to live every day.
I had somebody say that to me the other day. Because I was talking about the new food regime that you've helped me get on. That's my body's responding very, very well to. Okay, maybe that's the wrong word. Sorry. That's my way too expensive education coming out.
Protocol regimen.
Well, so somebody said to me, goes, it sounds like you found yourself a new lifestyle.
Exactly.
And I said to them, I go, I think you're right. It is a lifestyle. Because I just don't prefer to do it the other way because I feel like crap. And, you know, and now I'm like, I'm doing the most self-loving and self-caring things. Like, I'm actually enjoying cooking with my kids as opposed to running out to a restaurant. But I do kid once in a while. I'm going, hey, you want to meet for breakfast this morning?
There you go.
Well, there's nowhere to go. I can't meet anybody for breakfast.
Well, you know.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like but I'm enjoying, you know, like actually doing this stuff for myself. It's like there's a level of satisfaction there that's a lot deeper. No different than when you like finally get out of your credit card debt or you finally, you know, pay off. Who does not like paying the last payment on their car note? That feels fantastic when you're done with that.
Absolutely.
Even bigger when you see your last mortgage payment. People don't like the debt hanging over their heads. No debt is freedom. And we have to understand that this is all a choice. That's why, you know, I walk people through this process called the PACT process, P-A-C-T. And the process I walk people through, the third step is choose to. It's about making a choice because we feel like we don't have choice today. I'm telling you, you have a lot of choices right now.
Oh, yeah.
A ton of choices. I feel like we've been given a blank canvas and you get to design it any way that you want. Exactly.
And right now, it's basically like it's saying, hey, look, you can do whatever you want. What are you going to do? What part of yourself is going to guide you here in this right now into the future? Right. So a big thing I'm seeing is, you know, everybody has a vision in their head of how they want their lives to be, right? Everybody wants a way it wants to look or feel. Now, maybe it may end up looking or feeling that way, but usually it's a little bit different than what we see in our minds. But still, when you get there and you just know, you feel it, you know it. And so we have to first believe that that's possible, right? Because if there's that disconnect between where you're at and where in your mind you're living, that is called cognitive dissonance. Mm-hmm. And that is a problem every step of the way, no matter what, no matter with your money, with your health, with your wealth, it doesn't matter, but we have to establish these lifestyles and it's going to take work, but eventually it becomes embedded in our subconscious mind, in our body, and then it becomes automatic.
Well, and that's where I always talk about the fact that, you know, you were talking about earlier that you really want to keep listening to material like this, surround yourself. I always talk about the crabs in the bucket. Stop listening to all the people that don't support the life that you want to create for yourself.
Exactly.
You know, if you want to learn more about this stuff, well, then listen to this stuff all the time. Don't listen to the stuff that's pulling you down, that's reinforcing your past. You want to listen to the things and take courses for the things or whatever of everything that's going to support you. And, you know, and I'll always talk about it. Like when I was writing my first book, The Emotion Behind Money, my mom was an English teacher and I'm one of 12 children and I was her roughest student. She's like, you're writing a book? And she goes, you were like my hell child trying to like teach how to write. And I go, I have a graduate degree, Mom. I figured out how to write through the years. And I realized through that process, I could not talk to my mom about my book because she was a crab in my bucket at that time. Now she is happy as all get out. You know, I mean, the book did really great and it still does to this day. But I'm like, Mom, I go, I gave it to her after 3 rounds of editors gave it to her and she still found 2 mistakes in it.
What?
I know, but she's an English teacher. She can't help herself, you know, but we have to realize those crabs in your bucket might be people close to you. I wanted to manifest a published book and my mom was not the person to talk to in that process, because she reminded me how terrible of an English student I was.
And
when I was like in 4th grade.
And some people, no matter what, they will find a problem.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a problem, especially right now, if you're looking for something, you're going to find it. You will create it if you need to. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's such a true statement.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
So,
such a true statement.
And that's where this, like, sticking to your own, what is your own agenda for your life? Where are you going? And what is it creating? So we need to take some time, really, every now and then, which is why tomorrow I'm going to do this spiritual retreat. Take it some time to step back and observe everything that's going on. Because right now, everything is so enhanced. If you're in the middle of it, you won't see it.
Yeah,
so, and
that's really true. You have to take that time away so you can actually maybe follow your knowing and your guidance. You know, I always say that that has actually been the best part about my divorce, is that I'm now sitting in my house by myself at times, and I'm sitting here going, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. It's just like, it just pops in because it's quiet, and I don't have 4 little kids running around my house. And you know, and it's like you carve, but be intentional in carving out that time.
Absolutely.
Super important.
We have to be intentional right now. Well, I mean, always, but especially right now, with every decision, every thought, every emotion that we have. And, you know, just really be the conscious observer of our consciousness, so that we can move into these new places.
Well, and I just want to remind people that, you know, here, when we're here every week, it is so important for you guys. Think of your questions between this week and next week, and we're here to help you guys. You know, we want to provide value that helps you on your journey to get from where it is that you're at to where it is that you want to be. Even if it means you don't know what that is, or what it looks like, or what it smells like, pass the sniff test. Have the courage to start to open the conversation, because you know what? You're not the only one that has the question. There are other people that have the exact same question. It's about, let's, as a community, start to support each other and bring your questions. And, you know, I'm grateful, Chris, that you asked that question, because I'm sure other people were wondering about the same question.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And, you know, again, you can go to juliemurphy.com. I've got lots of tools and resources for you to get you, whether it's something in your family life that's jamming you up, your personal life, family life, or, you know, personal. Obviously, you handled a lot of the personal health stuff for people that I love and care about.
Yeah, beautiful. And, you know, you guys can come check me out too at spiritualbodybuilder.com and join my opportunity community. And, you know, we're blowing up. We're killing it. You know, astrology readings and spiritual health coaching. We do it all.
Yeah. And it's just about finding a new place of healthy health and wealth.
Healthy health and wealth.
That didn't make sense.
No, but, you know, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm sure everybody else is too. But yes, it is so critical and important to just keep reminding yourself, because this is like a muscle that we got to keep working. Keep reminding yourself when you're getting caught up in all the shit and all the craziness that's going out in the world. Bring it back to yourself. What is your purpose and why? And how can you be the most, you know, the most abundant and the most intentional right here and now where you want to go.
It's okay to dream the dream.
It is.
Because 100%. You deserve everything that you desire.
Exactly. And Jeannie, we're great. We're so great for you too. Thank you. Jeannie Bean said love and light to both of you and Julie.
Love and light to you as well.
Yeah. So great for you. All you guys.
Beautiful. All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Have a great week, guys.
Peace out.